Welcome back to the SEC Baseball Nerds Podcast. I'm Patrick Brown.
And I'm Daniel Helms, and this is where we talk all things SEC baseball. Yesterday was a thriller in which we won in 10 innings, 8-7. I thought we were going to lose for most of the game, but there was a lot of interesting things we have to cover.
Oh, yeah, tons of things happened. James Madison played a good game. We did not necessarily play a good game till the end. And now we get NC State today, which should be a great game today at 6 o'clock. So, yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about JMU and how they blew the game. Do you think we were down to our final out with no runners on base? What do you think led to us winning that game?
Well, first it was that hit by a pitch. 1-2 count. Blake Jackson got punked in the back. And then, obviously, the man, the myth, the legend, Cole Messina, Funky Cole Messina, walks up to the plate. And they had been walking Cole all day. Cole had not gotten at bat. Probably smart that they didn't do that. And then, in that moment, they didn't want to walk Cole Messina. They didn't want 2 runners on. So, guess what Cole does? You throw him a fastball slider in the middle of the plate. That's what I think it was. It had a little spin to it. Middle of the plate, he's just going to drive it out to left field. And that's exactly what happened. And that everyone was stunned. Even I was stunned. Daniel actually called this walk-off. He was like, these James Madison fans have no clue what they're laughing about. They think the game's over, but they don't know Gamecock comebacks. And indeed, we came back and we won this game. And then Will Tippett hits a sac fly out to left field to win the game. Do you have any notes on this game?
Yeah, of course. Do you think they should have intentionally walked him once again in that 9th inning? What do you think rose to the decision to not intentionally walk Cole there?
I think what they're thinking is 2 outs. We don't want to put them on and possibly get 2 runners on, and then their lineup keeps on coming. We just don't want to mess with that. So we feel like even if we give up a base hit here, then we'll be okay. We'll change pitchers or something like that. I don't think they were necessarily expecting the homer. I think they knew he hit the power. I don't think they were expecting that, and they were trying to play smart, but it did not end up smart.
Yeah, I completely agree. Cole Messina is just a monster. I feel like we're going to see more intentional walks today, which is going to be really frustrating because every time he gets intentional walked, I get really frustrated because I want to see him hit. But he has just been a monster in both the regionals and the SEC tournament. I want to go through some game MVPs. I would say obviously pitchers Chris Veach. I'm going with Will Tippett as the hitter. He had a home run and the walk-off sac fly. What is your game MVPs?
I'm going to say Cole Messina, and I will go Chris Veach as well. Congrats to Will Tippett. He had a really good game. He had a home run that kind of we were down 3 runs. It was 4-1, and Will Tippett led that comeback to make it 4-4, and then it was 7-4, and then we hit a home run. Kenny Jones hit a home run, and then here we are 8-7. But Will Tippett hit that home run. He hit the walk-off sac fly, which sounds kind of lame, but it worked. But great day from Will Tippett and Cole Messina. But I'm going to go with Cole Messina and Chris Veach as my MVPs for the day.
Partially, I went for Will Tippett because he had some amazing defense this game as well. And so did Cole, though. Cole arguably had the better defense. The JMU had been stealing all year, and we held them for 1-4 on stealing bases. We caught them 3 times. So very impressive throws from Cole.
Yeah, the problem with them stealing bases is we had a lot of errors on those. We had some plays that made up for it. We picked them off. We would throw at the plate at home, but we just struggled defensively once again today. This team, I don't think I've ever seen a team like this where in the same inning you can have 2 miscues and it looks like the world's going to end, and then you have 2 amazing plays that cancels those runs, and it's frustrating, but it's also entertaining at the same time.
Yeah.
But as long as these runs aren't coming across for the opposing team, I'm fine with it. But we definitely got to fix the sloppy errors because it is not helping us, and this is part of the reason why James Madison scored 7 runs today.
Yep. Another thing, the double plays were absolutely insane. every single time we would have base runners on with one out, a double play would come on. There was 4 double plays in the game, and it was just like, how many times could we possibly hit a double play because we just kept doing it? Like, even in the inning where we tied it up in the bottom of the ninth, we had a guy on, and then we just double played to end that guy. And then Blake Jackson got hit, and the rest is history. But the double plays were getting really in my head, like, and they were just consistent throughout the entire game. They just kept happening.
Yeah, man, it's really frustrating because you got a runner on, you got no outs. You're like, all right, we're gonna get a base hit, we're gonna score some runs here, and then you just grind into a double play. You get another runner on, it's another double play. It lowers your confidence so much that you're so frustrated. I know, me and you were talking about it. We were just so frustrated when it was 7-4 because we couldn't get base runners on, and when we did, it was just double plays every time, and it was just really frustrating. Credit to James Madison. They had great defense today, and that's part of the reason the game was so close. But those double plays are really frustrating, and the Gamecocks cannot keep this up the rest of regionals with the double plays in the defense. Pitching wasn't great, but it was fine today. It would have been fine if you had not had all these double plays and not all these errors. I think these are the two things the Gamecocks have to capitalize on because your hitting's doing fine and your pitching's decent. Your pitching's giving you a chance to win games. So the Gamecocks just really have to focus and work on these things.
Yep. Credit to James Madison. They played a great game.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have the feeling that they're going to win today, and we might possibly see them later on the road later on during the tournament. But I do not think today is their last day. I think they will continue, maybe even make the finals if they can win some more games. But credit to them, they played a great game.
Yeah, congrats, James Madison. They'll have a shot at Bryant today. NC State beat Bryant 9-2 last night. Wasn't really a good game. The Gamecocks get NC State tonight at 6 o'clock. I want to kind of discover into some interesting games that happened yesterday. I want to first start with Georgia and Army. Georgia beat Army 8-7 on a walk-off. Not a walk-off, excuse me. Army had a chance to walk it off. They had 2 runners on, 2 outs, couldn't get it through. Amazing game. Charlie Condon 3 for 3, a home run, 3 runs driven in. How do you describe how Army played first off and how Georgia played? Because this was a truly remarkable game by both teams.
Well, obviously we're cheering for Army because if Georgia loses that regional, we get to host, and if we win our regional. But great game by Army for keeping up with the big dogs, literally the big dogs, for basically the entire game. They had tied it up in the top of the ninth. They were down 2 runs. I watched that live. They tied it up. I was super excited for them, but that power crew just came through for Georgia and won them the game. So credit to Georgia, but also credit to Army for really hanging in with the big dogs. There were some 4-1 upsets. I believe, Evansville beat East Carolina, which that it was 4-1. It never even really seemed close. Watch out for Evansville. Sounds kind of funny. Grand Canyon beat Arizona in a 9-4 game again. Not even close. So I guess if you are gonna get an upset, why not make it a blowout?
And going back to that East Carolina regional, VCU beat preseason number 1 Wake Forest last night 1-0. So either East Carolina or preseason number 1 Wake Forest is going to be eliminated today. Who would have thought VCU and Evansville, with almost 500 records and lower seeds in their conference tournaments, could come here and beat the number 1 and number 2 seeds? Very impressive by them. Coastal Carolina, there's also some talk about them, their AD, putting them in over Charleston and other teams. They beat Vanderbilt 13-3, and they said, I don't care about the outside noise. They came in and whooped Vanderbilt yesterday.
You know this. In my bracket, I have Coastal Carolina winning that region, and last night Clemson did look very vulnerable. They had to get a walk-off in the 10th inning to win against a trash team. So, with Coastal Carolina looking so good and Clemson looking so vulnerable, I still think they will win the region as I predicted them to do.
LSU also won by 1 run against Wofford. They were trailing most of the game. It was 3-0 most of the time. Then it was 3-2, then 3-3. But they won 4-3 on a walk-off home run. That was also a very interesting game. And then another surprise upset. UConn beat the ACC champs Duke 4-1 in the Norman Regional. And is that normal for these kind of games to happen? I mean, I know it's the NCAA tournament. Nothing can happen. Anything can happen. Nothing can happen. But, I mean, we've seen a lot of upsets this tournament so far, and South Carolina almost fell victim to that yesterday.
I would almost describe it as normal. In this tournament, there are just so many upsets. With only 2 4-1 upsets, I don't think it's too much out of the ordinary. And the 3-2 upsets are always exciting, but they happen a lot. The ones that I saw coming actually happened, though, which I'm very proud of myself for predicting a lot of the upsets, right? If the regional ended today, my bracket would be looking mighty fine.
Yeah. Also, 2 other close games. 1 over 4 seed. Kentucky, close game against Western Michigan. They had 2 runners on, 2 outs. Kentucky hanging on to win 10-8 after leading 8-0. And then North Carolina, they were tied with Long Island 8-8, but they come out 11-8 over that team. So some great regional games. I assume there will be more today. Elimination games, regional final games. Any big games that stand out to you today?
Today, honestly, one of the biggest games, I want to go to that Georgia regional. I have not looked yet. Do you know who won in the other game in Athens?
That would be UNC Wilmington.
Okay, yep, that's really good. So the 1 versus the 2 seed, UNC Wilmington, and I would look to our regional, the 1 versus 2 seed, South Carolina versus NC State. But that Georgia game, we need Georgia to lose the game for them to have a loss, because we cannot have them going to the finals only needing to win 1 out of the 2. We cannot have that, because we really want to host. But obviously, our game is most important to us. Some other important games, I really want to point out to Clemson versus Coastal Carolina. I want Clemson to lose so bad, and Coastal Carolina just looked, honestly, if you just went by the score alone, they looked like the best team yesterday, beating the brakes off of Vanderbilt 13-3. They embarrassed SEC. The only other teams that came that much of a blowout was like Oklahoma, UNC Wilmington, and Texas won by 7. I don't know if that's like a blowout as much as 13-3, but still a very big win.
I also got LSU North Carolina. I think that would be a very good matchup. I really love that matchup. And I'm going to go to some elimination games. Arizona lost last night. Dallas Baptist lost last night. So one of them is going to get eliminated today. That's a really good game. As well as Duke Oral Roberts. We know the story about Oral Roberts making the Omaha last year. And I got 2 more for you. Obviously, Wake Forest and East Carolina. I mean, who would have ever thought about that? And then a very important game for me, in my eyes, is Army Georgia Tech, because I think either one of those teams can come back and beat the Georgia or the UNC Wilmington. So that's a very big game in my eyes.
I agree. I'm just rooting so badly for Georgia to lose that regional over there. I'm rooting for it so bad. I'm just so glad we're in the winners bracket today, not stuck with the losers. But we get to face NC State, and what might be the most important game of the day. I don't know. We'll see. There are some crazy, insane games like Wake Forest versus East Carolina in an elimination game. That's obviously very big. So the chances of the SEC getting all 8 of their teams in the World Series is looking a lot slimmer, because I believe I did my research right, and Alabama needs to win that regional, and they're already in an elimination game against Stetson, which I believe they will beat Stetson, but still.
Yeah, Bama lost yesterday to UCF. Very close game. I want to go back to Carolina. Garrett Gainey's on the mound today. I said that. I said EY Jones yesterday, Garrett Gainey today. They listened to me, thank goodness. Whenever Garrett's on the mound, I feel like we can win a game. But our offense definitely needs to score some runs. This NC State pitching staff is probably one of the better pitching staffs you'll face. They do not have much of an offense. So Garrett should have an easy time going today, hopefully, knock on wood. I'm going to do that right now. But Peterson today needs to be very close and careful with how long he keeps Garrett in there. Pitch count wise, inning wise, he gets that 5 2/3 mark, and Garrett gives up a homer. He starts to struggle. So I think we need to pay very close attention to that, and then know when to put the bullpen in. You already used up Ty Good and Chris Veach. Now, Good only pitched 1 inning. He did not pitch good at all. Chris Veach is probably done for this regional. Ty Good could probably come back in. You got Matthew Becker. You got Tyler Pitzer, who might be a start candidate. And you got a couple other guys like Parker Marlett and stuff like that. So I think you got to be very careful today, but I think Garrett will have a good outing.
Yes, I agree. I like our pitching choices today. I think it'll be a very low scoring game. I'm predicting like 4-3 us. But I want to point out that we are a very interesting team against the more pitching teams. So we faced one of the best pitching teams in the country 4 times this year in Arkansas. We finished 2-2 in those games against Arkansas. But other than Arkansas, the more pitch-heavy teams like Tennessee and Clemson, we did not do well against. So that's one thing to point out.
Yeah, you also have to go back to that Clemson series when the offense just wasn't clicking. The offense is clicking better now, and that's something big. So you just need your pitching staff to limit you to like 2 runs, and then you need your offense to score 4 runs. I think it's going to be a 4-3 game, Carolina today. Like, that's the type of game you're going. Now, we knew James Madison had a great offense. We knew we had a great offense, so we weren't expecting that to be a pitcher's duel at all, and it did not turn out to be a pitcher's duel. But today you're going to need to play smart baseball. Don't give up errors. Don't go into double plays again, and your pitching staff has to play smart. Yesterday, Eli Jones pitched pretty decent, I think. He gave you a good game. 4.1 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts with 1 walk. And then Ty Good just did not help us at all. 1 inning, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 0 strikeouts. And then Chris Veach got the win with 4.2 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, which was a problem for him, and 4 strikeouts. So pitching was a little off for certain pitchers, but I think Eli Jones pitched well, and I think the last 2 innings, Chris Veach played pretty well yesterday.
Yep, and the curveball was on full, or not the curveball, the changeup was on full display for Chris Veach yesterday. Eli Jones, I know he only got 4 strikeouts, but I felt like I was surprised when you said that. I felt like he had more like 6. So he was striking out at good rates yesterday. I remember just like I felt like it was like once per inning, which really feels nice. Bit about JMU, I think they're gonna bounce back with basically a very big victory. I could see like a 10-run victory today. Their defense was pretty good yesterday. Their hitting was very good. Their pitching was mid, but their pitching was like good for like most of the game. It was just that 9th inning, the later part of the game, that really killed them for JMU. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be on point today. I think their pitching will be a little better. I think their offense will still be there. The way they play, it's really hard to beat them because you always have to be aware where they are in the base pass, just what they're doing, because they'll pick you off. They'll put you in double plays. They're one of the more harder teams to play. I did not think we matched up well with them yesterday. I thought we were going to lose that game many times. It was just frustrating moments, but we got the win, and that's all that matters.
Yep, they're not a team I want to face again, though, but I feel like we will.
No, in this regional, you're going to have to face the team a couple times. So I think you will definitely meet James Madison further down the road, hopefully in the regional final, and hopefully we'll win again. I want to go back to a point that you talked about Cole Messina. I do not think nobody's going to pitch to him for the rest of the regional unless it's a scenario with 2 outs, no runners on, because I think they saw what happened yesterday and nobody wants to take a chance. So I think you got to capitalize with Kennedy Jones, Parker Nolan, those kind of guys to drive Cole Messina back in, because he's just going to be standing on base. And I don't think Cole Messina is going to hit another homer this year, because I don't think they're going to let him hit another homer this year.
With NC State's pitching staff being better, I think they'll give him 2 chances. I definitely think there'll be some times when there will be runners on. They'll definitely intentionally walk, but I think they'll give him 1, maybe 2 chances, but he will be intentionally walked this game. That is a fact.
Yeah, we've seen this a lot in college baseball with Jack Cagliari and Christian Moore, Charlie Condon, and now Cole Messina. These hitters in the SEC, man, there's something different about them, and teams are too scared to pitch to them. But that's okay. This is why you have 9 hitters. One of them can't do anything. Like, you got to have all 1 through 9 hitters stepping up. And if Cole Messina gets on base, then you got to have Parker Nolan behind him. You got to have Kennedy Jones behind him, step up and drive them home, which I think the Gamecocks can definitely do today.
And you know what my thought process is? If a player's minimum is first base because the team just gives them first base, that is amazing. We'll take free bases every single time. There's rarely a situation where you're just like, a base? Why would I want that? Like, a base is always good. So, intentionally walk, fine, give it to us. We'll take the bases.
Yeah, I think this will conclude this episode. Is there any last regards you want to say?
I want to, you were speaking about Jack Cagliari. I just want to congratulate Florida as a win on a 3 seed.
Yeah, congrats to Florida. They beat Nebraska last night, and they will play Oklahoma State. Another interesting matchup today for a spot in the regional final. Thank you all for listening to episode 8. Hopefully, we'll come back to you not today, but tomorrow with a win. Hopefully, Gamecocks face NC State tonight at 6. It'll be on ESPN Plus or on 107.5 The Game. Thank you all for listening. My name is Patrick Brown.
I'm Daniel Helms, and thank you for listening. I also want you to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family, whatever you want to do to help the podcast grow.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to episode 8, and we will get back to you tomorrow.